Association, and it's got some inaccuracies that are concerning. Past experience has shown us that when we've corrected such inaccuracies with the members of the committee, it's not corrected in their communication. March Council last year, it was necessary for me to correct some inaccuracies then that they'd not corrected after we told them about the inaccuracies at the time. So I now find we're in a similar situation regarding the Ratepayers Association year-end report that was circulated this week. We need to remember, firstly, they say there's a strained relationship with the municipal manager. It's mentioned in their governance report, and it alludes to the municipal manager refusing to meet with the Ratepayers Association, with the Plet Ratepayers Association. So we need to remember that at the time of interviews for the municipal manager, the Ratepayers Association lobbied against his appointment, alluding to corruption in other municipalities and imminent charges that would be laid against him. 2 years later, these charges have never transpired, and the previous institutional knowledge that he has assisted in getting Bitou municipality back on track much quicker than we initially anticipated. Subsequent to his appointment in April 2022, an incorrect inherited budget was corrected. New staffing regulations were implemented that should have been started in August the year before. Encouraged the current CFO to rejoin Bitou municipality, and this has been key to the turnaround strategy that we currently have in place. He's also directed the administration to focus on the audit general findings. He's established a disciplinary committee, implemented performance management, identified positions not required, and also those that were lacking in our organogram. Submitted this amended organogram to the Minister of Local Government. Once approved, new appointments can be made. The reason I mention this is to show that he's been key in directing the changes that have happened in the less than 2 years that he's been at Bitou municipality. He's not refused to meet with the Plet Ratepayers Committee. He has been clear in saying that he will not meet with individuals of the committee, but will meet with the full committee. This has still not transpired because 2 or 3 individuals want a meeting with the municipal manager and to date have not been introduced to the whole executive of the ratepayers. While the political and administrative executive arm of Bitou was introduced to the members, the 3 members of the committee, and that includes the chairperson. This was reiterated to members of the committee when myself, the Deputy Mayor and the Speaker met with them towards the end of 2023. While the report mentions an inability to stay ahead of solid waste removal, ongoing water pipe breakages and leaks, and continued issues of sewage blockage, it does not seem to recognize and acknowledge that this council actually identified these exact issues in our 2023 budget and budgeted for new refuse vehicles that are not off-the-shelf products, budgeting for a replacement program to replace aging fiber cement pipes and identifying reasons for sewage blockages, and in fact reported on these reasons. The 3 members purporting to represent the full executive do meet with our managers and are given all the necessary information they require. But our managers have gone at length in meeting them to provide answers to their queries. However, we have seen misrepresentation of the facts and information, and the ratepayers choosing to be the mouthpiece of council by communicating what this council has already addressed. Supply chain management is wrongly blamed for problems created by user departments. Accusation is made of awards to tenderpreneurs, yet no evidence nor formal submission has been made to Bitou municipality, making this speculation that places the municipal council and staff under suspicion. The time-consuming processes mentioned are the processes that municipalities are legislated to follow. The governance report speaks of prior applications that were particularly for political staff and vehicle acquisitions relating to pre-November 2021, but has subsequently been amended to information for after November 2021. Again, with incorrect information. Political staff in the offices of the mayor, the deputy mayor, and the speaker are only a PA, and an office manager in each of these three offices. There are no other political staff. These 6 people earn a total of less than 3 million rand per annum and not over 5 million, as is stated in the report. For the first 2 years in office, own vehicles were used for official business, as the decision was taken to only acquire vehicles for official use when the municipality was in a better financial position. According to regulations, these positions are each allowed the use of vehicles to the value of 750,000 rand. The 3 vehicles acquired cost less than 400,000 rand each, so in other words, a total of 1.2 million and not the 2 million rand reported in the report. Legal action mentioned relates to vehicles for these officers pre-November 21 that were more extravagant purchases. Nelson Mandela stressed the importance of recognizing national days, of remembrance and honoring such days. Bitou municipality decided that they would recognize the national days of Youth Day, Heritage Day, and Women's Day. So the allegation that there are Women and Youth Day parties is incorrect. These are organized events for members of the general Bitou public to remember and participate in and to celebrate the meaning of such events. If there are questionable tenders as alluded to, then the information must be provided to Bitou municipality to investigate instead of only making speculative comments. The interest in the sale of Earth 1725A is also interesting, as we understand that one of the committee members has a personal interest in this not happening. There has not been an increase in electricity and water losses, as he says in the report. The electricity losses have reduced from 13.36% to 9.29% and is within acceptable norms. The water losses have also reduced slightly from 37.71% to 35.89%. Bitou financial reports also do not allude to any savings in either staff or contracted services. It's clearly stated that staff positions should be filled based on an approved organogram and that contractors need to be correctly appointed. Much of what is said in the report is conjecture and allows the reader to form an impression of the state of play in Bitou municipality. I urge members of the public to read the annual report for a complete picture, as has been determined by the Auditor General, and also to read the forward by the Executive Mayor and the Municipal Manager that offer explanation, challenges, and plans going forward. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Mayor. I think from my side, we'll continue to point 7. We have one presentation. Are the presentation online? Good morning. Can you hear us? Ignatius. Good morning, Ignatius. Can you hear us?
Good morning, Speaker. Yes, I can hear.
Continue with the presentation. Welcome here this morning to the Bitou Municipality Council meeting.
Thank you, Speaker. I didn't get that. Do you want me to do the presentation?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is the presentation going to be shared or do I need to share it?
We will be sharing it on the side. No, you can share it from your side, please.
Okay. Speaker, can you see the presentation or not?
It's on screen now.
Okay. So thank you very much for the opportunity, Speaker, to do a quick presentation this morning around the audit outcomes. I think the Executive Mayor has already alluded to the audit outcome and the improvements in the audit outcomes in his turn of speaking earlier. So I'm not going to go through the full presentation in detail. It's shared with the council to get a sense of some of the work that's being done by the Auditor General and aspects that we focus on. So I will just be touching on a few key aspects of the presentation for the council purposes, and then I'll take maybe comments and questions after that. So if we just look at the mission, I just want to maybe focus on the mission of the Auditor General, and it's on the screen there. So it reads: the Auditor General South Africa has a constitutional mandate and as the supreme audit institution of South Africa exists to strengthen our country's democracy by enabling oversight, accountability and governance in the public sector through auditing, thereby building public confidence. So I think important in terms of that mission, Chair, is the strengthening of democracy by enabling oversight, accountability and governance. I think the presentation today and the oversight of the annual report forms part of that strengthening of our country's democracy today. Then I've just shared one or two slides in terms of the Auditor General's strategic aspiration and our strategy. And you'll see that our strategy is called #CultureShift 2030. Now, in terms of our strategy, what we would like to achieve and what we hope to achieve is to impact and have a direct impact on the improving of the lives of South Africa and the lived realities on the street in terms of service delivery. And you'll see there's a graph depicted on that slide, and this is something that we aspire to plot our auditees on this continuum under different categories, which we're still refining and finalizing, but to then plot them at the beginning and at the end of this culture shift to plot them again so that you can see the movement, because we would like to move all of the auditees through our insights, through our influence and through our enforcement towards the right in terms of doing good. And that's what we want to achieve through our audit, through our messaging. So you'll see there was three words, I think important words that I shared, and that was insight, influence and enforcement. And that's basically what we want to use to create the shift and moving auditees and impacting on the realities, the lived realities of South Africans. So if we look at insights, that is the messaging that we do, how we package our message, and that then also goes along with influence in terms of taking those messages and the right messages to the right audiences in terms of role players that needs to play a role in improvement of the lived realities of South Africa. And then the third one, lastly, is enforcement. And that's where we will use our powers in terms of the Public Audit Act and material irregularities to try and create that change and impact the lived realities of South Africans. So just in terms of, I've now mentioned to have the right messages to the right audiences. So you will see that on this slide, I think what is important to understand is that these changes and these improvements cannot be achieved in isolation by just one or two persons or one or two structures. There's a whole accountability ecosystem that plays a role in accountability. And you'll see on this slide, this is how we see the accountability ecosystem in terms of government. So you'll see you've got your leadership and your internal governance structures, and then you also have your support and your parliament on the other side. And all of these together play a big role in terms of improving the lives of South Africans. And we want to take our messages to all of these role players so that we can be part and impact on the lived realities of South Africans. So that is just something short that you can understand where we are in terms of our strategy and what we see in terms of our strategy for Culture Shift 2023. Then the next slide that I want to just highlight is the different types of audit outcomes that you can see. So these are the audit outcomes that the Auditor General will then express after our audit and after audit is completed. So you'll see there's green, yellow, and then some other colors, red and purple. The outcome that we want to see is obviously the green one, the unqualified with no findings, and what we called a clean audit. That means the financial statements is credible, there's no issues in the financial statements. It means the annual performance report and your reporting on your performance is credible, and there was no non-compliance to key legislation. So that is obviously the outcome that you would want to achieve is that clean audit, what we call a clean audit. Then if we look at the yellow one, that is where your financial statements is still credible and your financial statements is right, but you do have some findings in the area of performance information or compliance to laws and regulations. And then the last three is where your financial statements is also not credible and you have issues in terms of your financial statements. Now, I can maybe congratulate the municipality speaker as they are in that green one, the clean audit. So the financial statements is credible, the performance information is credible, and there was no non-compliance, material non-compliance to key legislation. In terms of the municipality's audit outcome, as alluded to the mayor earlier as well. So the next slide just encapsulates that in terms of it that you will see for 22-23, all the areas are now green. It means there were no material findings in any of the areas that we audit in terms of the audit process. So you'll see that in terms of the performance information, there's been an improvement in prior years. We still had significant issues on the annual performance report, which we've now concluded are credible. And then you will also see that there were certain areas of compliance, focus areas, 3 areas in particular where we still last year had material findings. All of those have been addressed and there's now no material findings in any of the compliance areas. Then just quickly on this slide, this just reflects on the controls around the financial statements and financial reporting. I'm not going to go into detail. As I've already said, there were no qualifications. Maybe just to highlight from this that you will see that before submission of the financial statements and after the financial statements were audited, the picture remained the same, which means that no material adjustments was required in terms of the submitted financial statements to get it to a unqualified opinion, which is obviously a positive thing in terms of that. Then just the same, maybe just highlighting here, the picture in terms of the performance report, again, that you'll see that there was no material adjustments required to get to annual performance report that's credible. Before submission was credible and after audit was credible. So again, that is a positive aspect in terms of the performance information. Maybe just something else to highlight on this slide. In terms of the annual performance report on an organizational level, there's no indicators that indicate the achievement of service delivery to informal settlements. And we feel that's an important aspect that should be included, so that the spending and the delivering of services in formal settlements can also be seen by the public in terms of that. So that is just a matter that we've highlighted to the municipality to consider for inclusion on an organizational level. Then just this slide in terms of IT, you will see that we also, as part of our audit, we look at the IT systems, and that you'll see that we didn't raise any major concerns in terms of the IT systems. Then just in terms of the next slide that I've got on there, that is just now highlighting again what I've already said in terms of compliance with legislation. So you'll see that for 22-23, there were no material findings in terms of compliance to laws and regulations. Then maybe I can just quickly refresh on this. I'm hoping that everybody is familiar with the term material irregularity and the enhanced powers of the Auditor General, where we can now issue material irregularities. But the definition of a material irregularity is on the slide there, and it really covers two areas. So the first is that there needs to be an action, and that action needs to be either non-compliance or contravention of legislation. Secondly, either fraud or theft, or third, a breach of fiduciary duty. So if any of those actions happen, then we can start considering a material irregularity, but then there obviously needs to be consequences. So it must result or be likely to result in either a material financial loss, the misuse or loss of a material public resource, or substantial harm to the public sector institution or the general public. So if there's an action there and there's a consequence in terms of the consequences there, then we would have a material irregularity, and we will report the material irregularity to the accounting officer to deal with appropriately and take steps to rectify the material irregularity. You can see that in terms of the powers given to us in the Public Audit Act, we can refer such a material irregularity to a public body to investigate, or we can recommend actions and make binding remedial actions for the institution to implement, which they then must do. And ultimately, if nothing is being done by the institution, we can then issue a certificate of debt for the failure to implement it. We have implemented the material irregularities at Bitou, and I can report that we have not identified a material irregularity at Bitou municipality in terms of the work that we've done. And you will see that it is included on this slide to just indicate that there were no material irregularities identified. Then, Speaker, the next slide just reflects on the root causes of some issues during the audit that we feel was important enough to just highlight, and some of the recommendations and commitments that was made. So there was some concern in the area of procurement and contract management around non-compliance to PPR 2022. And obviously the municipality need to make sure that they properly address this matter for the next financial year, so that it does not impact on the next financial year. They need to get clarity from National Treasury on what is required, and then, if necessary, change the processes of how they treat procurement below 30,000 from the PPR scenario. So that is something that as the council, you just need to monitor that the necessary actions is taken to resolve this issue. Going forward for the next. It was a matter of a bit of a dispute between National Treasury ourselves and the municipalities in the Western Cape, as there was uncertainty around how the procurement below 30,000 should be done and the interpretation thereof. Then the second area is just in terms of the audit of performance information. So even though there was an improvement, we were still a little bit concerned around the supporting evidence and the accuracy and credibility of the supporting evidence that support the annual performance report, and further improvement and enhancement in terms of the controls around that and the reviewing of the annual performance report and the portfolio of evidence is recommended, just to ensure that there's no issues going forward in those areas. Then I think the executive mayor also reflected on the improvements and the fact that there were recommendations and those were implemented. And you'll see that we reconfirm that on this slide in terms of the previous recommendations that was made and that it has been implemented. We, however, just highlighting that in terms of fruitless and wasteful expenditure, those investigations of older fruitless and wasteful expenditure still needs to be completed, and the actions around that still needs to be completed. And as I've indicated, that there should just be further enhancements in terms of the performance information and the credibility of the portfolio of evidence. Then in terms of the key messages, I think I've already highlighted two of them in terms of the PPR and the actions that needs to be done there and that needs to be monitored, and the improvement on the performance information. And then just two other areas which we've raised from an emerging risk perspective that just needs to be looked at, that proper actions is taken in that regard, is that there are some uncertainties around VAT treatment for certain functions that are done on behalf of the province, and the funds that are received in terms of those functions, and how it should be treated for VAT purposes. So we are just cautioning the municipality that they need to treat these correctly, and if there's any uncertainty, that they need to get a VAT ruling, a binding VAT ruling, in terms of how the VAT on these funds should then be treated, so that there's no problems going forward in terms of how it's treated and uncertainty around that. And then just the aspect in terms of the approvals and changing some of the approvals in terms of the Municipal Supply Chain Management Regulation 17, and that the CFO's approval need to be before the awards are made. Those are the key messages, Chair, then Speaker, and then maybe just in terms of this, I can maybe just highlight that we do issue a general report for the MFMA, where we consolidate the results of municipalities and give some general reflections on that, which would give the council, very good insight. So for the previous year, the general report was tabled in 31 May 2023. So probably again for the latest audit outcomes, the general report will again come out around about that time. So if you look at those reports, they do give some valuable insights in terms of the municipal environment. Speaker, I think that's it from my side. I'll pause here and I'll take comments and questions if there is any.
Thank you very much for the presentation. Councillors, is there any questions for the auditor? Councillor Kapai?
Thank you, Speaker. What's his name?
Ignatius.
Ignatius. Can you hear me?
Ignatius, Councillor Kapai is on the floor.
Yes, I can hear.
Councillor Kabai speaking. Thank you so much for the presentation. We support these institutions because they assist us to do our business of the day. And for that matter, we can't contest them. Whether bad findings, and we applaud a municipality where it's having sound findings. So what I'm trying to say to you, it was a good presentation, and therefore, as Bitou municipality, the ANC supports good governance. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Councillor Kabai. Any other councillor? Executive Mayor?
Thank you, Speaker. Yes, I'd just like to reiterate thanks from Council for the presentation and just highlighting certain areas. It was obviously a challenging year to try and address everything. And again, as I have mentioned in my opening, thanks to everyone at Bitou Municipality and also in your office for the support offered. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other councillor? Seems like we have no one else on the floor. No one. Going once? CFO, nothing? And B. Thank you, Ignatius, for the presentation from my side. Thank you very much for the assistance coming from the AG. Bitou Municipality take pride in ensuring good governance. So therefore, we appreciate the efforts that has been taken to ensure it comes to this municipality. Thank you very much. That's it from our side. Is there anything lastly from your side?
No, thank you. I just want to thank the council again just for the opportunity to present. And then, Speaker, I just want to know if we can excuse ourselves after the point of the tabling of the annual report. If that would be okay, I would like to stay at least till the tabling of the annual report, Speaker.
Yeah, it's not a problem. I will just change the order of business and then we will start with the annual report for you to be then excused later on after that. Thank you.
Thank you, Speaker.
We will continue to point 8. Items for information which has been dealt with by the Executive Mayor. Mayor?
Thank you, Speaker. There's only the one item. We had a late permission granted for one of the events on the 30th and the 31st of December at the Plet Rugby Field. So that's the only matter that I had to deal with. There were certain conditions I needed to adhere to in terms of sound because of the proximity to a lot of residences. So that's the only item that is necessary to be dealt with during our recess.
Thank you, Mayor. Point 9. The noting of outstanding and partially implemented council resolutions. Mayor?
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, I recommend we take note, but I just have a concern that there are still so many outstanding that date back to 2018. And I think it's before the next council meeting to go through all those and what dealt with already we need to remove from that.
Okay, we take note, Mayor. Thank you. Point 10. Yes, Imam.
But I would want the administration in my office to look at this because there are some of the matters that the last council meetings also show issues that were not dealt with. And there are some of the things that in the last three council meetings that were not there but are suddenly popping up. So there must be something wrongly or something incorrect. Two previous council meeting, you didn't have these situations because of the not resolved, but then they pop up to remind me that. So just the side of us in administration
Nice inside.
to really verify those matters, you know. Don't want to focus on specific examples now.
Then it's small, then it's big. A lot of items, then it's only 2-3 items. Thanks, M. We will continue to point 10. The consideration of reports, non-delegated matters, which is in the portfolio of index. Under the section 1, Office of the Municipal Manager. As stated, we will first deal with the first item, the report from the Audit and Performance Committee. Annual report. Which one was?
Your report done.
What was that? The addendum. Have the correct portfolio index? We will first deal with the tabling of the draft 2022-2023 annual report, which is on page 110. Item is there, item C, stroke 1, stroke 193, stroke 01, stroke 24. Item is now serving. Amen.
Just to highlight, the annual report after it was distributed, was an error that was picked up. Just with Coverly, it was being indicated as part of well as part in the drift that was indicated. That has subsequently been corrected. The one that will be published that will then be in line with the demarcations that were actually was still falling under what in terms of the old demarcation. So those are the errors that we pick from our side, which we have corrected first.
Thank you, ma'am. I'm just gonna ask him now. Item is still on the floor, councillors. So before any councillors, Ignatius, is there anything from your side?
No, thank you, Speaker. Nothing from my side.
Executive Mayor?
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, when you look at the annual reports, and I think when members of the public look at it, we have this thick document, and I think it can be quite daunting. But I don't think the public realizes the sort of information that is contained in this report in terms of what the municipality has been doing and what the municipality also plans to do. So I'd like to just beg your indulgence for a few minutes if we can actually scroll through the report. And if we can maybe first go to page 61 of the report, which is page 173 in our agenda, if we can maybe have that on the screen, please. So we can just scroll down, so we got to, okay, if we leave it there. What I just want to highlight here is the organization of performance and what it says about the SDBIP. That is the Service Delivery Budget Implementation Plan. So it sounds like a mouthful, but to the public, it's really just what we are doing with the money budgeted and what projects we have in-house. And that just highlights what it's about and how it's controlled. If we just scroll down then to page 63, it's the audit report, page 63, so it's down a bit further. Scroll down.
Mayor. Yeah, sorry, Executive Mayor. Councillors, I'm just allowing the Mayor for some little bit of detail on tabling. It's for tabling matters only, so I won't allow back and forth debates on this item. It's for tabling reasons that we just allow him to enter into few comments. That's just it.
Just to explain, yeah. So it'll be page 175 on our agenda. That's it there. So if you can just go, it's like that to members of the public looking at this just gives an overall perspective of where we are. And the red obviously is items that we still need to attend to that were not met. And the yellow is items that we almost met. So it gives a picture in terms of performance and exactly what the municipality has achieved of its objectives for the year. I think that just adds a bit of clarity to that. And then if we can go to page 192 on the agenda. This just shows what it is the municipality is responsible for. So it gives the public also an idea of areas where you see policing and things like that. So just to highlight that that sort of information is also contained in this annual report. Then if we can go to page 203. And then this also highlights projects that have been done. But if you scroll down to the actual budget figures. So a little bit further down. A bit more. Okay, stop there. This also shows the capital projects that the municipality has undertaken, the budget and the spending. And this is shown for the various directorates as well. So it's just that the public can also have a look at what's been done, what projects are on the go, and that information. And I'm not going to go through any more, but one of the things that's interesting to look at is usages, for instance, in terms of water. We know that our population is increasing. We know we've got a lot more people coming into Plet. But if you go through the report and you look at the water usage versus the previous year, you actually find there's been a reduction in our water usage. And these are interesting figures and interesting information because there are concerns that are often raised by the public in terms of water and consumption and electricity. You'll see when you go through it as well that our electricity losses have reduced. So in other words, the performance has improved, and I mentioned that earlier as well. So I just wanted to show, before proposing that we accept the annual report, what information can be found that the general public can look at and answer some of their questions as well. So with that, Speaker, I'd like to propose that we go through recommendation.
Thank you, Executive Mayor. Proposed by the Executive Mayor on the annual report, Councillor Nel.
I will second that, Speaker.
Seconded by Councillor Nel. That deals with the item of the tabling. Ignatius,
Yes, Speaker.
have you take note of what has been raised? We will be excusing you.
Yes, thank you, Speaker.
Okay. Thank you very much. Is he excused? Yes. First item, or the second item actually, item C, stroke 1, stroke 179, stroke 11, stroke 23, a report on the learner's driver's license program for Plettenberg Bay. You would find the item on page 49. The item is now serving. Councillor Nel.
Speaker, I propose that we go with the recommendations, and in particular that we have a relook at the people who failed to see if there are any of them that want to continue and try again, because this is a good program. We were confused initially thinking that there was an exceptionally high failure rate, but it must be understood that it's not the learner license failure rate, it was the final license, which in general failure rates are particularly high. Not only in this municipality, but in other municipalities, final driver's license as such. And it's not uncommon that people have a couple of tries before they actually get their final driver's license. So I think we must just, those people that have failed the first time, first attempt, have a relook at them and see whether we could continue with them again.
Proposed by Councillor Nel. Councillor Kamkam.
Speaker.
Seconded by Councillor Kamkam. Next item, item C, stroke 1, stroke 180, stroke 11, stroke 23, the development of ERF 4367, the Shell Ultra City site, Plettenberg Bay. Item is on page 62. Item is now serving. Councillor Nel.
I think I propose we go with the recommendation.
Proposed by Councillor Nel. Deputy Mayor,
Second, Speaker.
seconded by the DM. Item C, stroke 1, stroke 190, stroke 01, stroke 24. The report from the Audit and Performance Audit Committee. You would find the item on page 72. Item is now serving. Councillor Nel,
Speaker, I propose that we take note of this report, particularly since it's a fairly old report. But it is a good report and there is some value in looking at it here. But I suggest that we take note of it.
Councillor Olivier, seconded by Councillor Olivier. Item C, stroke 1, stroke 191, stroke 01, stroke 24, the revised Audit and Performance Audit Committee Charter, which is on page 81. The item is now serving. Councillor Nel,
Speaker, I propose that we accept the revised charter.
proposed by Councillor Nel. Councillor Olivier. Proposed by Councillor Nel, seconded by Councillor Olivier. Item C, stroke 1, stroke 192, stroke 01, stroke 24, the schedule of meetings for Municipal Public Accounts Committee for 2024. You would find the item on page 105. The item is now serving. Councillor Nel,
Speaker, I propose that we take note of the list of dates for the impact meetings.
Councillor Kolwabi,
Seconded.
seconded by Councillor Kolwabi. It deals with the section 1, Office of the Municipal Manager. We will continue to section 2, Finance. First item under Finance, item C, stroke 2, stroke 169, stroke 11, stroke 23. A request for a debt write-off as per customer requests. You would find the item on page 527. Yes. Executive Mayor is excused. Item is now serving. Councillor Manlaba.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, I understand that the application for a write-off in terms of rebates, it is actually something that is actually supported by the legislation. But in that same breath, how is it that this association waited up until their account actually skyrocketed before they start pushing to actually have a treatment? Is it really could it be that it's just a matter of just entitlement, because they know exactly that they'll actually apply to the rightful office and things will be done because of how we know exactly that that minority is actually what the group that seems to be actually running the town and appointing the municipality in terms of what to and what not to do. My fear here is we are a municipality that is challenged in terms of funds. And as a result, we entered into a recovery plan. There's actually cost containment, this and that, just to ensure that we actually deviate that money in ensuring that there's service delivery. How is it that a group of the squash group that is actually that we actually consider doing a write-off for, whereas such monies could actually make a difference in our communities? I'm still perplexed, to say the very least, because really, how do you enter into an agreement and sit for the longest of time without having to own up to the agreement, then play around the books and just laws just to ensure that you have a write-off? Personally, I'm not sure what circus are we actually trying to play here. But in that same breath, these are actually my serious concerns that we're sitting with situations that are actually beyond our controls in our communities that requires the resources of this municipality. Yet we actually have time to actually entertain such. How is it that a facility is actually granted to a certain group and a group is not owning up to what they're supposed to be doing, which is their end of the deal, which is paying? And then in return, here we are prioritizing this as if there's not any other thing that actually we can do in this as this municipality.
Thank you, Councillor Manwaba. Councillor Olivier, Councillor Bitou, and then Councillor Papaya. Councillor Olivier.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, I'm listening to the councillor and I have read the background in this. So unless the background is lying to us, I'm not sure because as I see, these people have tried to get attention being paid to the matter, and they are a non-profit organization. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Councillor Olivier. Councillor Mitchell. Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, you need to be clear on things like this when it comes to leasing. When associations get approved on the lease, it's their responsibility to settle accounts. In this matter, municipality is giving the lease and then they must carry the cost also for these people in the lease. And if they can't pay.
Ma'am, please order yourself.
Yes, councillors. We can't allow in certain areas or certain associations don't pay. And it must just be written off. It's nothing to write the amount of, but this is a lease agreement. If they can't commit to the lease agreement, what's what the lease agreement? Thank you, Speaker. Thank you, Councillor Mitchell. Councillor Tabay.
Thank you, Speaker. I've seen that the executive mayor has recused himself, and what confused me is that he sat on the matter on the mayoral committee. But the recommendation as it be, or as it has been put, we don't support the recommendation. Therefore, more info must be supplied on how did this happen, that somebody who has a lease with the municipality ended up not paying until that amount skyrocket like that. I support that the item be referred back so that we get more info about this item. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Councillor Tabay. Councillor Kamkam.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, if I can recall correctly, we did have an item previously regarding this matter with Platinum Bay Squash Club. I think at that point when the item came, there were issues with the lease agreement, and we had to agree on a way forward. Part of those recommendations from council at that point was that that we need to recover the money. So I'm not sure if councillors can recall, but as this item is back here now, the lease issue, there was issues, and I think that issue has been resolved from what I can see from this. However, I want to say that we had in previous council funds, we also had the same principle, we applied the same principle for the NGOs that has come to the municipality for help. I do understand that the issue might be that this specific NGO is, in a affluent area, which is in town. But, at the end of the matter, the municipality followed the same procedure that we do with any other NGO, and that includes the crashes. And we had various other NGOs here that did the same. We did the same for. So, Speaker, I would propose that we go with the recommendations.
Speaker.
Councillor, wait a minute. I just want to make sure you have actually exceeded your time. Is there a follow-up?
The follow-up. If I have not exceeded my time, I'll check my time.
No, you exceeded your 5 minutes.
No, it was not 5 minutes.
Continue on your follow-up.
Thank you. Speaker, I sat in this council last year, and when I raised this in council, it sounded as though I was actually seeking attention. This open door policy of the Mr. Mayor to a certain minority of this town is the reason why we sit with such items here. And we are not going to be intimidated or have our opinions belittled by saying this was done. If it was done, there must be a proof to that. Show us other items that are actually exactly this. We can't compare a squash club to a crash. That is a mindless comparison. this needs to come to an end, Speaker. And I caution you kindly, this open door policy that the executive mayor to the certain minority of this town is the reason why we sit with such. And tell you what, and here I am now sitting and debating on this. Later I'll be driving in town and I'll have people stopping me by the wayside, just like it did when I told you that a lady from the second division attacked me while I was actually having the best time of my life in town. It is because of these things. We open doors for this minority to actually come and dictate what this council should do. And then at the end of the day, when we actually raise our concerns, because we are here to actually look after the resources of municipality and ensure that they are disseminated in ensuring that we better our communities. None of this is bettering our communities.
Yes. Thank you, Councillor Ngaba. That's your time on the item. MM?
No, Speaker.
Let me first give to Councillor.
Speaker, I second.
Can we just allow MM also before MM?
No, Speaker, maybe with the issue of, certainly there's a proposal.
Yes, that's what I just thought maybe you would like to say something before.
No, I wanted to say something about that in terms of issue of the resolution.
Okay. Speaker, councillors? Councillor Mhlana first, then Councillor Tabai.
Yeah, no, I want to second Councillor Tabai on his proposal.
Mr. Speaker, can I say something?
Yes, sir.
We are not against, but the way it came now, and by the way that the mayor is excusing himself from this matter, it opened our eyes. We really need more info about. Let the item be referred back and we get full information about it. Then we will take a decision. We don't want to be spoon-fed something that we don't understand really. You see, when an executive mayor stood up accusing himself, it made our eyes to brighten up. You see, that's what Councillor Mangaba is saying, that the mayor is going around giving other people preferences. You see? And the comparison about the squash club, it's people who are relaxed, who've got millions. You see, we need to get money as a municipality. We can't be rushed like this in an item. Thank you so much.
Councillors, we have two proposals on the floor. The first one is that the item be referred back, proposed by Councillor Tabai and seconded by Councillor Mhlana. We have the approval of the recommendations by Councillor Kamkam and seconded by Councillor Yala. Can we then have those to remove by show of hands?
Refer back.
Refer back. Refer back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Make sure 7. Sorry? Yes, I wanted to go. I just want to make sure it's 7. There's about 7. Can all those with their hands up, please record into the mic?
Councillor Mhlana,
Support.
Refer back.
Councillor Tabai supports that the item be referred back.
Councillor Samkele, along with Amla Mangaba supports that the item be referred back.
Councillor Seki supports that the item be referred back.
Councillor Kolwapi supports the fact that the item should be referred back.
Councillor Mitchell for the item.
Councillor Busake support that the item to be referred back.
There is 7 versus those. I think it's majority. It's majority. 7 versus 4. Those that recommended the recommendations, please have you record as well.
Councillor Nell, I support that we go with the original recommendation.
Councillor Kamkam, I supported that we go with the original recommendation.
Councillor Wallace.
Okay, that's councillors.
Speaker, in your position.
The mayor,
Oh, sorry, yes, I would support that this be referred back. My apology, man. I thought I'm not supposed to
There was no need for a speaker to.
because of being at 7 already.
Mm.
That's why I was no need for me. It's fine.
because the mayor supports not recommendation. So the speaker is for it.
Yeah, I've abstained there. Oh, yeah, I've abstained.
No, you.
Oh, no, are we just doing it on the
The Mako.
He should have recused himself in the make.
councillors? Can we have
Mako, it's.
Councillor Mhlana? Yeah, I'm listening to the acting director. Acting director, do we have all records clear? Are you happy?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Councillors, for that then, the item will be referred back on the majority of councillors requesting that the item be referred back. We can have the mayor back. Next item under section 2, item C, stroke 2, stroke 170, stroke 11, stroke 23. The annual tabling of list of exemptions, reductions, and rebates according to Municipal Property Rates Act number 6 of 2004, section 15, subsection 3. The item is on page 534. The item is now serving. Councillor Kamkam,
Thank you, Speaker. I propose that we cover the recommendations.
Councillor Olivier, seconded by Councillor Olivier. Next item, item C, stroke 17, stroke 01, stroke 24. The amendments to the supply chain management policy and preferential procurement policy, January 2024, Financial Portfolio Committee. 537 is the page number, and the item is now serving. Councillor Olivier? Voted by Councillor Olivier. Councillor Kamkam?
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, one of the things that came out in our meeting was that now that we have to follow all the formal processes, as we all know, in our communities, it's mostly between 2,000 and 30,000. That bracket, that the grass cuttings, the dumping sites, the cleaning of the stormwater, etc. It normally used to fall into that category. And in recent months, we had a lot of problems, regarding the awarding of those contracts. And now the process has changed. And that means that we can no longer just rely on, doing things haphazardly and relying on we could have done it that way. We will have to, administration will really have to make sure that they plan very well. So, Speaker, these are part of the concerns. We have to accept these amendments, but in terms of the service delivery, we just want to please the administration. They have to take note of these changes and plan accordingly so that we don't sit with the bottlenecks in terms of our service delivery. I second the item, Speaker.
Seconded by Councillor Kamkam. Last item in section 2. Item C, stroke 2, stroke 178, stroke 01, stroke 24. The report on the implementation of the supply chain management policy for the second quarter, October to 31st December 2023. You would find the item on page 685. The item is now serving. Councillor Kamkam, Executive Mayor.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, I think there is another supply chain management report, and there's a section 72 and 52 reports. So I propose that we cover the recommendations. Some of that is contained in the other reports.
Proposed by Councillor Kamkam. Executive Mayor.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, can we just go to page 687? I just want clarity on the item there. You can just have that on the screen.
687. Page 687.
The third item, the fourth item for the SNR electrical. If you look at the total estimated amount, it says the rate base subject to availability of funds exceeding 10 million. Should that not be not exceeding 10 million?
Amen.
So 3
Table,
Yes, we need to put the not in there.
not exceeding.
Yeah, it should be not exceeding.
Which item is this? Number 4.
For
I have a not on my end.
There's a not there.
not there, evaluation of.
Word not should come in, not exceeding.
No, not is in the other item. It's lower down that we see.
What is-
Not there. Check for Bitou where you see Bitou.
Oh.
One up, one up.
So if you look at the one,
23, 10, 27.
if you look at the one for SNR electrical,
Yes, there was 10, 23, 10, 27.
Oh, yeah.
It's not saying, it's not having it there, not. Number 3.
well, yeah, it is number 3, but it's a fourth item.
There's the fourth item, but it says there number 3.
Rate base subject to availability of funds exceeding 10 million, which should read not exceeding 10.
You must also correct the numbers. There's 2 number 2s there as well, and 2 number 5s.
Oh.
And with that change, I was second.
The changes being included, the executive mayor is seconding that item. Next item, section. It is section 3, corporate service. First item, it's item C, stroke 3, stroke 143, stroke 11, stroke 23. The Human Resource Management Division monthly report for the period of October 23 until 31st October 23. The item is on page 720. It's now serving. Councillor Kamkam,
I propose that we take note of the report, Speaker.
proposed by Councillor Kamkam. Deputy Mayor,
Second, Speaker.
seconded by the Deputy Mayor. Next item, item C, stroke 3, stroke 148, stroke 01, stroke 24, the Human Resource Management Division. Monthly report for the period of December 23 until 31st December 23. The item is on page 728. The item is now serving. Councillor Kamkam,
Oh, Speaker.
proposed by Councillor Kamkam, seconded by Councillor Olivier.
Sorry, Speaker,
Executive Mayor,
just want to make sure what we recommending, so the recommendations from MACO that included the percentage sick leave. Is that the one that's in there? Sorry, okay, sorry, I didn't notice on the screen.
thank you, Mayor. Next item. Item C, stroke 3, stroke 150, stroke 01, stroke 24. A request for amendment of the terms of contract in accordance with section 116, subsection 3 of the MFMA and the conclusion of a long-term contract in terms of section 33 of the MFMA. Payday software systems, page 737. The item is now serving. Councillor Kamkam,
Post.
Second, Speaker.
Councillor Manlaba, seconded. Next item, item C, stroke 3, stroke 151, stroke 01, stroke 24. Request for amendment of the terms of contract in accordance with section 116, subsection 3 of the MFMA and the conclusion of a long-term contract in terms of section 33 of the MFMA. Business engineering. You would find the item on page 757. Item is now serving. Councillor Manlaba,
Propose we go with the recommendation, Speaker.
proposed by Councillor Deputy Mayor,
Second, Speaker.
seconded by the DM. Request, sorry, item C, stroke 3, stroke 152, stroke 01, stroke 24. Request for amendment of the terms of contract in accordance with section 116, subsection 3 of the MFMA and the conclusion of a long-term contract in terms of section 33 of the MFMA. Hydrocomp. Item is on page 778. The item is now serving. Councillor Manlaba.
Speaker, if you may note, this item actually relates to the that other two was just dealt with. I propose to go with the recommendations.
Deputy Mayor.
Second, Speaker.
Proposed and seconded. Last item. Item C, stroke 3, stroke 153, stroke 01, stroke 24. Request for amendment of the terms of contract in accordance with section 116, subsection 3 of the MFMA and the conclusion of a long-term contract in terms of section 33 of the MFMA. Consolidated African Technologies, page 798. Item is now serving. Councillor Nel.
I propose to go with the recommendations, Speaker.
Councillor Manlaba. Seconded by Councillor Manlaba. That deals with section 3. Next section is section 4, community services. Item C, stroke 4, stroke 145, stroke 11, stroke 23. The public participation process and service level agreement for the regional waste management facility. Item is on page 813. The item is now serving. Councillor Tabai, Councillor or Deputy Mayor.
Speaker, I really want to know where are we now in terms of the regional waste project? Where are we?
Let's get that one.
Can we get some info?
Director, is there any response to the question?
Good morning, councillors. Speaker, yes, there was slight delays in the completion of this project as two of the B municipalities have not signed the service level agreement with the district. These two municipalities have since submitted the item to their respective councils. That was Mossel Bay and George Municipality. It has since been accepted and they have signed those agreements, which has been slightly amended. From the latest reports that we have received, there was only the Nisa municipality that was outstanding in signing their SLA, which would then allow the district to commence with establishment of this facility. As the district has committed themselves to take out a loan for of all of the B municipalities in the district are combinedly responsible for settling that debt. And with neither not having signed, there is a slight delay in taking up the loan or to make a drawdown on it. But the other two municipalities, we were in meetings in November in Mossel Bay to resolve those outstanding issues, and everyone else has signed, including the Bitou municipalities.
Thank you. Councillor Mhlana?
Yeah, thanks. We, from our portfolio committee, we made a request that SMMEs from should or must benefit from whatever that is happening in the building of this transfer station. And Speaker, I know, just want to be opportunistic now. To see the transfer station is full, flowing now. What seems to be the problem? What is the problem? We always see the municipality on papers about we hear in Nasa there is a mafia. I don't know whether it's a mafia, it's a waste mafia. Yeah, so I want to know what is the problem.
So, Speaker, sorry. There's a question.
Yes, I wanted clarity. I didn't finish. So, Speaker, it is really, we are agitated. The director is explaining it. and the frustrations that we are having. I think other municipalities don't feel it because really our transfer station is overflowing, and really I don't know what is happening now. Really something must be done. If it hasn't kicked on this thing, then let's deal with that thing that is happening at the transfer station. Don't know whether trucks are not taking rubbish Mossel Bay anymore now. We are confused. And communities there are crying foul. That area is being unhealthy now. You see, smelly and so on. Remember, there are residential areas very close to the transfer station. So I think let's do something while we are still busy with this one. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Speaker. Councillor Tabai is correct. We have had some challenges with the removal of the waste to Petro SA due to fleet challenges. The fleet, however, has now been restored. We are taking 2 hooklift trucks per day to Mossel Bay to try and address that issue. It must just be made very clear that in terms of the norms and standards for transfer stations and our current operations, we are still compliant with our permits. We are doing everything we can to abate any type of nuisance that may arise, which includes the smell. So measures are taken to address that. We have since Tuesday, we have been able to take 2 trucks, the new hooklift plus the one that were in for repairs is now back and operational. So we should be making some headway with the backlogs that we have experienced in taking the waste to Petro SA.
Thank you, Director. Item is still serving.
Support the recommendation.
Again, proposed by Councillor Mhlana, seconded by Councillor Tabai.
There's a hand.
CFO.
Sorry, Speaker, sorry to bring you. I have to take it back to the supply chain management. Reference to the above, 10 million tender was above. So the item is with as it is in the agenda. On the list are tender with 3-year triangle things. 20 million. Over 10 million.
Is a
Process was correct, more than over 10 million. So what is in the agenda is it needs correction.
We have to add that not in there. Section 5, engineering. First item, it's item C, stroke 5, stroke 102, stroke 11, stroke 23. The token identifier rollover progress report. Item is on page 873. The item is now serving. Councillor Wolafir. Deputy Mayor.
Again, Speaker. You're doing it well. That video, you're doing it.
Next item, it's item C, stroke 5, stroke 103, stroke 11, stroke 23. The progress report on INEP grant, page 875. The item is now serving. Deputy Mayor.
I propose that we go with the recommendations.
Proposed by the Deputy Mayor that we go with the recommendations. Seconded by Councillor Olafir.
Speaker.
It's fine. I was just about to second it.
Item C, stroke 5, stroke 104, stroke 11, stroke 23. the planned maintenance approach to street lighting for the Bitou area. The item is on page 880. It's now serving. Councillor Mangaba, Councillor Olafir, the Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Speaker. I've had plenty of time to actually just browse through the planned schedule, right? I just want to confirm before I can safely say whether or not I support the recommendations. Will the maintenance of these lights be just limited to the schedule, or our people or our communities can still call to actually ensure that whatever needs maintenance is actually attended to? Because I'm avoiding a point where I commit to a cut and dry approach to maintenance, which would then mean communities will be sitting in the dark during the time where while they're waiting for their time slot. So I need to just confirm that before I can say whether or not I'm going with the recommendations.
Ma'am?
Thanks, Speaker. It's a different, unplanned outages are different, so that will still be attended to. Or reported by the communities. This is scheduled to community and when unplanned outages will still be attended to that reporting process.
Speaker, with that being said, I'm comfortable supporting the recommendations.
Moved by Councillor Mangaba. Councillor Olafir.
Speaker, I think a councillor was ahead of me with that question. That is what I wanted to ask, but I am very, very pleased to see this schedule. What I would like to request is to add that as a recommendation and information that the NM has given us, because I want to be sure when we have recommended it goes through, that if I have an emergency situation, that it's there. So I'm requesting that we put an added recommendation that in cases of emergency or urgency, it will be attended to outside Bitou.
Let me first give to the Deputy Mayor, then Councillor Nyal, and then Deputy Mayor, then Councillor Nyal.
With what councillors are happy about, their problems that they were concerns of, then I support. A second.
Seconded.
Speaker, I share the concerns of Councillor Mhlaba and Councillor Willie. Whatever.
Sorry, councillors.
Mentioned that unplanned outage.
Comrade Mhlaba was our senior leader. He died long ago.
No wonder you.
Item has been proposed and seconded with the added recommendation that unplanned outages be addressed through customer care and be attended to. Do we have that? Thank you very much.
By mentioning him, so rest in peace to Comrade.
Next item, section 5. It's item C, stroke 5, stroke 105, stroke 11, stroke 23. The progress report on electrification of informal settlements. Page 883. The item is now serving. Councillor Mhlana?
Yeah, Speaker, this project is moving very slow. In fact, I'm not happy to see that there is even an invoice that was not paid from 2022 to 2023, and that comes to us. I mean, that is supposed to have been dealt with by officials, and I support the progress.
Supported by Councillor Mhlana. Deputy Mayor?
Second, Speaker.
Seconded by the Deputy Mayor. Next item, item C, stroke 5, stroke 106, stroke 11, stroke 23. The 2022-2023 annual WSDP performance and water services audit report for council approval. You would find the item on page 885. Item is now serving. Councillor Nyal?
Speaker, I propose that we take note of this item, but I also propose that we take time to actually go through this item. Because they do mention and investigate the water capacity that we have and the accessible potable water sources. There's important investigations as far as the time frames which we have in which the water will run out in this municipality.
Thank you, Councillor Nel.
Second, Speaker.
Seconded by the Deputy Mayor. Item C, stroke 5, stroke 108, stroke 11, stroke 23, the capital projects implementation plan monthly report for period ending October 2023. The item is on page 1034. It's now serving. Councillor Nel, Councillor Olivier.
Speaker, I propose that we take note of this report, but let us just park here and look at how much time we've got left until year end. At this stage, we have woefully underspent in talking about this from the first quarter, about the expenditure of capital equipment throughout, and we're not the only municipality, but this is a thing, it's an institutional thing amongst municipalities where we underspend on our capital, and we're not going to be able to spend on our capital budget fully if we go the way we are going. I'm pretty concerned about that, and I think we all need to be. But with that, I propose that we take note of them.
For now. Seconded by Councillor Olivier. Item C, stroke 5, stroke 110, stroke 11, stroke 23. The proposed development for Bitou municipality. You would find the item on page 1039. Item is now serving. Deputy Mayor.
I propose that we go with the recommendation, Speaker.
Proposed by the DM. Councillor Nel.
Second that, Speaker.
Seconded by Councillor Nel. Item C, stroke 5, stroke 115, stroke 01, stroke 24. The capital projects implementation plan, the monthly progress report for period ending December 2023. Item is on page 1043. It's now serving. Executive Mayor.
Thank you, Speaker. This is a updated version from the one that Councillor Nel spoke on now. And it's good to see that we've got timelines put in place from now till the end of the year. My only concern is that most of these are for June. And I'm hoping that June is the final timeline and that we are going to have these projects finished by June. And I think we need to monitor on a monthly basis that we are on track for that. And with that, I will propose that we go to the recommendation.
Proposed by the Executive Mayor. Mayor.
Seconded, Speaker.
Seconded by the DM. Next item, item C, stroke 5, stroke 116, stroke 01, stroke 24. The progress report on the TID rollover. Item is on page 1048. That's now serving. Deputy Mayor.
Speaker, on this item, that there are challenges that have been identified. But I think as the time goes by, then it will be rectified because I think the elder is still struggling about that. So with that, Speaker, I go with the recommendation.
Proposed by the DM. Councillor Mhlana,
On that, Speaker.
seconded by Councillor Mhlana. Next item, item C, stroke 5, stroke 120, stroke 01, stroke 24. The quarterly report for the Electrical and Energy Division for the period of October 2023, December 2023. The item is on page 1050. It's now serving. Deputy Mayor.
Take note, Speaker, of the report.
Councillor Nell.
I'll second that, Speaker.
Seconded by Councillor Nell. Section 6, Economic Development and Planning. Item C, stroke 6, stroke 119, stroke 11, stroke 23. R4131, Plettenberg Bay Market of Main Building Plans and Related Matters. The item is on page 1056. It's now serving. Councillor Nell, Executive Mayor.
Speaker, I propose that we go with the recommendation. There has been talk about the movable and immovable property that was part of this development. It is part of the agreement that even the bricks and mortar items that were included in particular the toilet facilities, will be regarded for purposes of this agreement as movable property. And should the contract come to an end, it will be the decision of the municipality whether to keep those brick structures or to demolish them. It's not, even though they are brick and mortar structures, particularly the toilet facilities, they are not regarded for the purposes of this contract as being immovable properties. That I suggest that we go with the recommendation.
Proposed by Councillor Nell. Mayor, see you. Seconded by the Executive Mayor. Next item, item C, stroke 6, stroke 126, stroke 01, stroke 24. Economic Development Section Quarterly Report for October till December 2023. You would find the item on page 1061. Item is now serving. Councillor Nell.
Speaker, I propose that we take note of the report.
Councillor Kamkam.
Thank you. Councillor Sethi, name 5.
Councillor Sethi, then Councillor Kamkam.
I wanted to second.
Seconded by Councillor Sethi. It deals with the portfolio of index. We will continue on the order of business. Sorry.
Addendum.
Yes, this is the one I received. Yeah, we still have an addendum. Sorry, it's not on here. It's fine. Bring it here.
For a second, I'll be back now.
Excuse the councillor now. Yeah. We have an addendum under the Office of the Municipal Manager and Finance. Item C, stroke 1, stroke 194, stroke 01, stroke 24. The tabling of the 2023-2024 MFMA Section 72 mid-year budget performance and assessment report. Item is now serving. Councillor Kamkam.
Proposed, Speaker.
Seconded by Councillor Mhlana. Section 2, Finance. Item C, stroke 2, stroke 180, stroke 01, stroke 24. The list of withdrawals from municipal bank account for the quarter ended 31 December 2023. Item is now serving. Councillor Olafi and Councillor Kamkam. Councillor Kamkam.
Seconded, Speaker.
Seconded. Item C, stroke 2, stroke 181, stroke 01, stroke 24, the cost containment report for the quarter ending 31st December 2023. The item is now serving. Councillor Kamkam. Proposed by Councillor Kamkam. Seconded by Councillor Olafir. Item C, stroke 2, stroke 182, stroke 01, stroke 24. The section 52 report for the quarter ending December 2023. The item is now serving. Executive Mayor.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, I think we just need to note that our figures are moving in the right direction, but there's still concerns regarding the current asset ratio that's still sitting at 1.3, and our outstanding debt as well. But at least with the recovery plan that we have in place now, that should start reducing. So I propose we take note of it.
Post that we take note by the Executive Mayor.
I'll second that, Speaker.
Seconded by Councillor Nel. Next item, item C, stroke 183, stroke 01, stroke 24. The environment report for the second quarter ending 31st December 2023. The item is now serving. Councillor Kamkam. Proposed by Councillor Kamkam. Councillor Nel.
Seconded, Speaker.
Seconded by Councillor Nel. Now we're done with all items.
There's one more report.
With the portfolio of index, we will continue to point 11. Urgent matters submitted by the municipal manager. None. Point 12. Consideration of notice of motion. Point 13. Consideration of notice of questions. Point 14. Consideration of motions of exigency. That deals with that section. We will now continue into in committee. How much time do you want? 2, 3? Are you ready?
1 minute.
5 minutes.